Hi, my name is Kelsey Griffey and I work for the Bureau of Land Management. This Fire Friday we're learning about fire lookouts and smoke inversions. Where there's fire, there's smoke, and that's what fire lookouts use to find where wildfires are. By seeing those small puffs of smoke even, or those large columns, they can pinpoint where a wildfire is and then dispatch fire resources to it. Check out this link to Idaho Public TV to learn more about fire lookouts in Idaho. Smoke is partially burned products of combustion. Comes from wood burning, and we measure the weight of this in the air from particulate matter 2.5 to particulate matter 10. And that's what we're measuring through our air monitors, and that's what tells us when air quality is bad or good. And you can check that on the Idaho Smoke blog spot, the link below. We become concerned about smoke for our health when we experience inversions. And that's pretty common here in Idaho because we're surrounded by mountains and live in valleys. And so the smoke easily gets trapped in those valleys. And so that can be quite concerning. So let's take a look at what's really happening when a smoke inversion occurs. We're going to pretend that this tub is just like the mountains that surround us, especially here in East Idaho, and down inside is the Snake River Plain where we live. Now, what do you think is going to happen when we use dry ice to simulate what smoke does? Do you think smoke will rise or sink? So hot air rises, and so we have that unstable atmosphere, and we're seeing a lot of mixing occurring in the winds and atmosphere. That's when we get those tall smoke plumes and very active fire behavior. But when we have a stable atmosphere, that's when we get smoke inversions, because smoke cools down and gets trapped in the valley as the hot air rises and traps it up top. So we'll go into a little more detail on that here. So let's take a look at what happens when we pour some hot water on our dry ice. So right away, we have this great smoke happening, as you can see. And isn't it interesting how it's staying down in the valley? When it cools down, smoke will sink down into the valley because it also gets very cold. And that's just like this dry ice is very cold. Then, in the morning, as the sun comes back out and starts to heat up, it forms a layer of hot air above the cold air, thus trapping the smoke down in the valley. This is also why a lot of times we see these smoke inversions in the morning. You wake up and you go outside and it's really smoky and hard to breathe, but then in the afternoon, the smoke lifts. Smoke can travel a really long ways, and so a lot of times in the summer, the smoke we're experiencing isn't necessarily from the fires in our backyard. It can be all the way from Alaska. We can see smoke from California. It just depends on air currents. Smoke is really interesting and important for people to be aware of, especially during our wildfire season, if you have any asthma or underlying health conditions. So stay tuned to air quality reports. When we conduct prescribed fires, we take smoke mitigation very seriously. We follow the National Ambient Air Quality Standards for particulate matter 2.5 and particulate matter 10, which we talked about is how smoke is measured. And then we use models to forecast the smoke dispersion and the impacts it will have to communities. And if there are any restricted airsheds in the area too. All airsheds are managed geographically, And us in Idaho Falls District, we are managed through the Idaho-Montana Airshed Group. And we all coordinate when we conduct these burns because like we talked about, smoke can travel. Smoke mitigation is very important to us, and we only want to conduct prescribed burns when we can get the best smoke dispersal. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this week's Fire Friday, and check out some of the additional links and resources mentioned. Thank you.